into my third day of the vaccine, and
Yeah.
all is going well. Hey, Theo, howdy, howdy.
How is that going? Yeah.
Yeah, so I got the injection on Tuesday, and yesterday I had noticeable pain at the injection site. Um,
Did you?
yeah, and both either from touching the site or by moving my arm. And in the morning, so yeah, yesterday morning I noticed when I got up, I felt a little bit off. I thought I might get a headache, but I didn't. I kind of had that strange feeling like anyway, but it never turned into a headache. And as the day went on, it got better, not worse. And
Yeah.
um, today there's no pain from moving my arm at all, and only just you can just barely tell, where the injection was, even when I touch my arm. So everything's looking good.
Yeah, great. You got the Pfizer. That's correct,
I
right?
got the Pfizer. I'm a Pfizer man.
Yes. Me too. I got the Pfizer last Thursday, 1 week ago, actually. Today, 1 week ago. And yeah, I had some black and blue. My arm actually a bit black and blue, but and I had a bit of pain the next day. Yeah, it was
Hmm.
yeah, it was pretty painful there, but no fever, nothing other than that, right?
Yeah. I'm
Although I talked to a few students who got the Pfizer and they had fevers afterwards.
hmm. I just
Yeah,
feel
so I don't know.
I just feel fortunate that I didn't get the Moderna or the Johnson and Johnson, or I'm very fortunate that I got the Pfizer, because it seems that the efficacy is at the top. The side effects are near the bottom, as far as the likelihood and severity. So I think it's probably the best combination, at least for me, since it
Yeah,
was available. Yeah.
it's good. Yeah, it's good. However, I've been hearing on American news. I don't know if you watch American news, but they're saying the Pfizer is less effective against the new variant, the Delta variant, right?
Really?
Although that's just in a few studies, yes, right. They say the Moderna is more effective in just that variant. The Pfizer, of course, is still like 67 or 68% effective. The Moderna is in the 90s, the last thing I heard. However, that's based on just a few studies, not many studies,
Mhm.
not a plethora of studies. So I don't know, but I'm happy to just get it started.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
You
any
know,
any of
yeah,
them are better than
because
nothing. The least effective is
right,
still much better than nothing. So yeah.
right. And Theo over here says, "Hope you didn't get the Johnson and Johnson." Yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
know. Did you hear about that? The recent that causes a neurological disorder.
Right. We talked about
What is
that
it? I forget
briefly
the name of.
yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. I'd heard about that. Yep.
Right, right. Yeah, no, no, that's a bit freaky for me. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
uh, hopefully Pfizer down the line will be fine.
Right.
I think it will, of course, sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. And
Well, I mean,
like I said, I'm just glad to get it started.
yeah. Yeah. Now, Jeff, I don't know where you're getting your information, um, but this is
Oh, I
this.
just saw CNN. CNN, I saw
Well, there you go.
recently.
You
When
believe in
was
that
it?
kind of.
Last
I mean, wow.
Friday. There you go.
Wow. I mean,
Well, I've been watching CNN continually negative news.
Um, so if
Right.
you probably can't see this maybe, but this. So on this one,
Yeah, that's the one you sent me, right?
no, no, this
Hmm.
is this is this
Okay.
is from 6 days ago. This is only from 6 days ago. This is brand new.
Okay.
And so the blue line, you
I
can see the
can't see
blue
that. No.
line. Well, can we? Oh, you didn't make me.
Um.
You're the one who has to switch it up, man. So make it the main. Make it the main window.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right. There we go.
Number one, yeah. Now it's a little
Yeah.
bit better, but you still
Okay.
can't really read it. So anyway, the blue line is Pfizer. Okay, The blue line is Pfizer. And if you look at the top, this is talking about efficacy. And the blue line, the Pfizer, is at the top of almost every chart that they've got here.
Yeah.
AstraZeneca is here, and Moderna is the green one. They're comparing over on the left side on each of these columns. Over on the left side of the column is the Alpha variant, and the right side is the Delta variant. And you can see it goes down, but in every one, the Pfizer is still above any of the other vaccines. So I don't know, I don't know what CNN read or where they got their information, but this is just one that I called up, right away. But I've seen, and they might all be quoting the same things, but this is from, this shows 4 different countries: England, Scotland, Israel, and Canada data here, and every one of them has Pfizer at the top. So I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I don't know what CNN quoted.
I know Japanese news too has been saying that about the Pfizer Moderna issue.
Been saying what?
Although, that was last week, so who knows? Maybe it's changed since then. This is 6 days old, you said, so it was the end of last week.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe it's the most recent. And I don't know. Again, I don't know either where everyone's getting their information. It seems like there's kind of a little bit of a mismatch there with some info. But I believe you. Sure. I mean,
it's not me. It's just this that I pulled up, and like I said, I've done several searches for information like this, and it always seems to give me basically the same comparisons. That the Pfizer is always at the top of the list for efficacy. So I don't know.
Good. Yes. Well, that's great to hear then. Very, very good to hear. Yeah, my family members also said that they saw in the news that the Pfizer is less effective. But again, you have the data, you have the chart, so there you go.
I really don't have that chart that I showed you. Let's see. Here's one. Let's see. Social vaccine are effective against Delta variant. This is from 8 days ago in the Japan Times. But I don't see them comparing. So I see a lot of the news articles about saying that the vaccines are still effective against the Delta variant. Now, I'm wondering, if they misheard or misinterpreted what they said, because it is true that the Pfizer vaccine is less effective against the Delta variant, but not when compared to another vaccine, right? When compared for example, the Alpha variant compared to the Delta variant, Pfizer is less effective against the Delta variant than the Alpha variant. But then every vaccine out there seems to be, that seems to be the case. And Pfizer is starting with the highest efficacy. So it just seems very strange to me that Pfizer would drop from the top to below somebody else. It seems like they should all kind of slide down the scale together. It would make sense, especially
right. No, I agree totally.
None of that makes sense to me. And like I said, I haven't heard that and haven't been able to find any data that supports that at all. So I'm really kind of skeptical.
Yeah, again, I haven't seen data. Even on CNN, they didn't actually show data, right? Numerical data. So, but they also said that Pfizer was wondering if they should produce a booster shot already. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. And to me, that's more looking for the ching-ching.
Could very well be, of course, sure.
I mean, everything I've heard.
Now, Dan. Ching Ching has a different meaning in Japan, in Japanese than you're using there, my friend.
Yeah,
I won't expand on that.
Yeah, but that's what Pfizer's looking for in both dialects, man. Bloody Pfizer, man. Thing that I've heard is that the people from the very to get the Pfizer vaccine, antibodies are still near the peak. They're not declining at all. I mean, are not, not
Yeah.
significantly,
So
and
no need for a booster.
well, I mean, I didn't say that because we don't know. All we know is what we've seen so far. We can't really project into the future. You don't know what's going to happen. But it's just,
Of course not. Yeah.
it's almost unreasonable to expect that it's going to go. I mean, it's been 6, 7, 8 months for some people, right? And it's been, the maintaining that efficacy, the antibody levels. It's just unreasonable to expect that it's going to drop off a cliff suddenly after 8 months or 9 months or whatever. That's just no antibody. I mean, until now we haven't had any vaccines that have operated that way, where it's 100% or 95% efficacy for 9 months, and then 9 months and 3 days it drops off to 20% or something. That just doesn't happen. We've never seen that, right?
It just it seems very unrealistic. Definitely.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's fascinating, right? Because we're basically on the cutting edge. We don't know the future, right? We don't know how the vaccines will transpire, right?
We are dealing with
it's fascinating.
We are dealing with the SARS coronavirus, right? Remember, we've seen SARS before, and we do have vaccines for the original SARS, the SARS-1,
And yeah, I just want to add to that a lot of people have already been working on the mRNA vaccines for years, right? It just didn't come into effect in the past couple of months. I mean, they've been working on it for years, since the SARS in 2003, right? So
of course, the technology, the way to make the mRNA, that's I mean, this is the first time that it's been, any kind of global distribution, so on. But the research was going on for a while. But I mean, what I was going to say about the first SARS virus is people who contracted the first SARS virus and survived, which is most of them, but there it was a more severe SARS than this one has been. I mean, it wasn't as contagious, it didn't spread, but it was had a higher mortality rate. But those people that did survive maintained, even after now, how many years has it been? They still have, maintain the antibody levels. They still are immune to the SARS virus today, right? So that's the closest parallel that we have. If you're gonna look at immunity over a long period of time, the closest example we have is the previous SARS coronavirus.
The previous SARS, right?
And that one, the immunity is still going strong. So this idea, I mean, now
it is
a booster for the Delta variant. Now that I can see, because the Delta variant is enough of a difference that there might be some escape, and so on. So that kind of makes sense. I could see where they might argue for that. But again, I
think that's what they were alluding to, actually. Yeah.
Right. And that kind of makes sense. But again, if after we've gotten our the two vaccinations, whichever ones they are, after we've gotten the 2 shots of the current variety of the vaccines that are out there, basically we're not going to die from SARS or from corona.
Right.
We're not going to.
Absolutely.
Probably, it's very unlikely that we'll even end up in the hospital even overnight. It's just, we'll get sick, but it'll be like a cold or flu, light flu. It's not going to be a hospitalization type of illness, right? Which for me, I mean, rather than standing in line and worrying about another vaccine and all that, if I stay out of the hospital, I don't die. That's my main concern. I'm not even worried about the booster.
Well, even if you're right. Even if it is a little less effective, we won't go into the hospital. We won't be in any closer to death. You're absolutely right. We'll get sick a little bit and recover.
Yep.
So that's the most important thing.
Right on.
Like I remember getting the flu, influenza A type a couple of times, right? In my life here in Japan. It's pretty, it's pretty serious. And I wasn't getting any kind of flu shot in those days.
Right.
So it would happen naturally, get the flu, you feel bad, right, for a day or two, and then you recover. And then I started to get the flu shots, actually, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I guess, because my family's impetus, basically. Right. I didn't get any kind of flu at all after that. Boom, no, nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I tell you, I mean,
uh,
I never get the flu shot. I think I've gotten the flu shot twice,
yeah.
you know, a couple of
Mhm.
times for some reason. I don't know why, but I never get the flu shot. I have gotten the flu a couple of times, but I haven't gotten the flu shot, but I haven't gotten the flu in the last 9 years. I don't think 8, 9 years. You know.
There you go. That's great. Awesome. Yeah. Now I had one thing happen in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, before coronavirus really came upon us. Yeah, I was at a sushi shop with my wife. Okay, this was like December 2019 or January 2020,
Hmm.
right? Really before it started to hit us. Yeah, and I was at a sushi shop, and it's kaiten sushi. It's conveyor belt sushi where the sushi comes around, right, and you pick it up off the plate. I generally don't like that. There are a couple of shops that have a cover on the sushi.
Right.
You can take it from under the cover. I like that, actually. Of course, I haven't been to sushi in ages, but at this point, we were at the sushi shop where you order sushi and it comes on a plate specifically for you, right?
Right.
Well, it has to pass a lot of people, right,
Right.
before it gets to you, and it
Right.
has no cover, right? And
Right.
on this particular day, I saw a kid, right, like looking at the sushi, right? Each sushi that came by, right? He was just looking at it, like, almost touching it, but not touching it, but looking at it very closely.
Right.
And he started to sneeze. Yeah.
Oops.
Not on the sushi, but, just
Right.
started to sneeze towards his parents or whatever,
Right.
not covering his mouth and what have you.
Right.
And yeah, we were like, oh, okay, right, whatever. We got the sushi, ate the sushi. The next day, I had a fever.
Huh.
Right. Yeah, I had a fever. Didn't feel good. I felt bad enough to go to the hospital. Actually, right. I
Wow.
felt almost like a flu was coming on. Right.
Right.
Because you can kind of tell your muscles start to ache. You kind of feel like, whoa, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, dude. It was like, wow. Okay, I felt bad enough to go to the hospital. This was January, so they knew some. I guess at that point they knew something strange was going on in China. I think.
Uh-huh.
Uh, they're like, there's this weird flu type thing coming on. I'm like, do I have that? They
Mm.
tested for everything they knew about at that point.
Right.
No, nothing. Just and no influenza. Just a cold, just a fluke, right?
Hmm.
Took some medicine. I had to miss a meeting actually at work because of that, and people were asking me too at work. Do you have that newfangled thing there, Jeff? That newfangled flu?
That
And I'm
newfangled
like,
flu, yeah.
no, that newfangled flu. No, no, sorry, everything's cool, right? Yeah,
That's the
everything's cool. But
Chinese
yeah,
flu.
that was
That's
weird.
the Chinese flu. You gotta
Weird.
learn
Yeah.
your Trump speak.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, Dan, can I just show this picture here before? I know you want to show
Go,
that.
man. You're in control.
Oh, am I? Okay. Right. Oh, am I?
Well, theoretically.
Okay, yeah, this one I was just talking briefly about this one,
Uh-huh.
the traditional Japanese homes, yeah. About this tokonoma here, and I started to talk about the tatami mat. Now, Dan, do you live in a traditional Japanese home or traditional Japanese apartment?
Um, not really. No. I mean, it has
Do you have a tatami room in your apartment?
the bedrooms are tatami, the kitchen and the living room are hardwood floors, so it's kind of a combination. Which is fairly typical. I mean, this apartment building I think is 30 or maybe 40 years old even, and 30, 35 years old. And at that time, a lot of people wanted, more modern, more Western style living room. They wanted sofas and things like that while they're gathered around to watch the TV. But a lot of people still wanted the convenience and the tradition of sleeping on the tatami, or sleeping on the futon, right? So bedrooms are tatami, and the living room, kitchen are hardwood floor. There were a lot of apartments and houses built in that era that were like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. I don't live in a traditional Japanese home. No, we don't have a tatami room in my house at all.
Hmm.
But my wife's cottage up in Mount Aso, they do have traditional tatami rooms, right? There's kind of a loft. It's a very small cottage. There's a loft with an 8 mat tatami room.
Yeah.
On which we use futon, right? Futon one on the bottom, and if I'm lucky, I can have a double layer futon on the bottom.
Right.
And one on the top, of course. And downstairs, there's a 6 mat tatami room that's next to a living, eat-in, dining, kitchen area with a TV and whatnot, and a large table. And there's a curtain separating the two. Now downstairs too, we use futon, right? And it's great. I don't mind it at all. I don't mind the Japanese style, older traditional rooms like that.
I mean,
I even, my family though, right? They're kind of getting out of the tradition, right, and making more modern homes with all wood floors and beds. I of course I don't mind that either, but I don't mind the traditional Japanese tatami room.
Yeah,
it's a little harder to keep clean. You have to vacuum it, but how do you feel about that?
I mean, there's strengths and weaknesses for each floor. The cleaning, I think it's it's a little higher maintenance for the tatami. To really get it clean, you need to get down there on your hands and knees, with a cloth and wipe it and so on. And you turn over the tatami every year or two or something like that. And, all these kind of things. And it has to be, the tatami actually should be replaced every so many years, not that often, but about every 6 or 8 years or something like that. It's good to
it's supposed to be. Yeah.
A lot of people don't, but where I lived, I always did, and so on. In fact, I haven't in the bedrooms where I am now, and that's about the longest I've gone living in a place without changing the tatami. Actually, I just prefer it. It feels cleaner. I like the new tatami and so on. Although again, there's a little maintenance with that, getting off that first layer of the mud that they use to treat the tatami. With but
it's a great smell, isn't it? Too?
Yeah, it really is.
The smell is just it's
great. Interesting, cool. It's interesting to me to see the tatami. That's it's by a window, and you've got some things, a dresser or the whatever, set on areas of the tatami that never get the sunshine, and other places that are sun bleached and so on, and you move those things when you go to turn over the tatami or replace it or whatever, and you see like the original color that was underneath the dresser or whatever that was sitting there, because all the rest of it is faded out over the years, so that's always interesting. But
that area is pristine, isn't it? Pristine and green.
Honestly, especially when I was younger, I didn't mind sleeping on a futon, and I did, for my first several years in Japan. I always slept on futon. But then,
do you sleep on one now?
Now we have a bed. We just put a bed right over the tatami, and I just like I prefer a bed. I guess it's pretty firm. It's a very firm mattress that we have on there and so on. But I like being up off of the floor a little bit. I feel that it's not necessarily cooler in the summertime, but I feel it's a little warmer in the wintertime. And I don't know, I feel more comfortable getting out of bed, being able to swing my feet off over the side of the bed and stand up a little easier. Maybe I'm getting old, I don't know, but
telling you,
I just find that a little easier.
Well, when we're up at the cottage, we're always on futon, and we, getting up in the middle of the night, for example, is hard, right? You have to kind of stand up and try to walk, right? Or it's easy to fall because our futon is raised above the wood floor. It's raised a few inches, so 8 or 10 inches. So it's a step down, so you can fall actually if you're not careful.
To me,
but we sleep on a bed too.
Yeah.
Now, sure, in our house in Kumamoto City,
Yeah. To me, the
which
great
I prefer
advantage
too.
of the tatami is, I mean, you really don't need a lot of furniture in a traditional Japanese home. You know, I mean, you have the seat cushions, the zabuton, you know, to
Hmm.
sit
Hmm.
on, and a kotatsu, and you know that's about it for furniture. You know, if you got more guests come, well, you get out more of the cushions, and people can sit anywhere. It's not like you know there's a shortage of chairs because you know as long as there's space on the floor, there's people can sit, you know, and relatively comfortably if they're used to sitting on the cushions, right? And the same
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
the
Definitely.
bedroom. You don't have to have a bed. You don't have to have a frame at all. You can just put the futon right on top of the tatami, and it's very it's very sleepable and so on. So yeah, I mean I guess the lack of space taking furniture is a great advantage to the Japanese home style.
I think so too. Although I don't really like sitting on the zabuton too much, right? That's hard too.
Mm.
Especially cross-legged. Yeah, that's really hard when you get older, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're
They
more
have these kind of futon chairs.
yeah
Huh?
you're more of a Seiza person.
See, yeah, yes,
Yep.
exactly. Even when we go to a restaurant, like a traditional Japanese restaurant, right? Yeah, I sit seiza actually,
Yeah.
which for all of you watching is sitting on your knees, that Japanese style
Right, with
of
your
sitting.
feet
I
tucked
do.
up
I sit a
underneath your
lot.
head, right? Yeah, that's the way I like to
Right.
sit, you know. And the Japanese are always like, "Don't you get tired of sitting the Seiza style? You know, don't you
Yeah.
want to relax and sit cross-legged?" I said, "No, actually, this is more comfortable for me." And they can't believe it.
Totally. Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know they can't be they're like, come on, relax, sit down, sit cross-legged. No, that's hard.
Mm.
It's hard on your back too, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. I think for me, the Seiza keeps my back straighter.
yep.
That's why I like that
Yeah,
more. I
yeah,
think. Yes.
definitely improves your posture to sit, the on your knees
Mhm.
than with your legs crossed like that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Dan, yeah, look at the picture here. We got number 3 and number 6, right? The roofing tile or kawada, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
then we've got the Japanese thatched roofs, yeah. What's
Uh-huh.
your thought about the overall architecture in traditional Japanese homes?
The overall
Do you
architecture.
like it? Do you like the nuance? Do you like how it looks? Do you like the feel of it?
I
I
mean,
was just, yeah,
initially it
go ahead.
appealed to me because it was different, and so I appreciated, the aesthetic different, between the traditional, the homes that I grew up with and so on, and the ceramic tiles, the traditional tiles on the roof. I thought, oh, that seems pretty, pretty practical and sturdy and so on. Things that barring some heavy tree branch that blows onto your roof, or that might be heavy enough to crack the tiles or something like that, or a typhoon or something that has wind strong enough to peel the tiles off of there. I mean, basically they're on
Yeah,
there for the life of the house, right? I mean, they're really quite durable, even more so
pretty much.
so than those uh, tar paper, the tar paper type shingles that are on the houses in the area where I grew up with, right? Those things,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
you know, get
Although,
old.
in some strong winds, they do, and typhoon and whatnot, they have a tendency to blow off, right?
Right, right, yeah,
And some of them do break. So,
yeah,
in which case you'll see houses with these blue tarps over, for a while because of
right,
the broken roofing tiles. But yeah, no, I think you're right. They're pretty much on forever.
right. So
Even in my house now, we've got a variation on those roofing
okay,
kawada, right?
okay.
Tiles, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I think they initially I thought that they looked nice. Now, I see them, or I see the. I mean, it doesn't have any kind of impact on me anymore. They've just, it's like, yeah, the house, houses have, roofs like that. It doesn't have any impact anymore. It still looks
Right.
nice, and I think it has a nice, clean look to it and so on. So I like that.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
Yeah.
and
I like it too. I was just talking earlier about up in Mount Osso, near our cottage, there are traditional farmhouses, right, that have been there for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And one particular one has a thatched roof, over which they put like a metal roofing, not tiles, but just two metal roofs on either side of on top of the thatched roof, which is interesting. So you can go up and look under and see the thatched roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been in some of the the traditional thatched roof houses, that even have the cooking, in the center, where the smoke rises up through the roof and so on, those old, and some of the really old ones where the cooking has been going on for years and years and years, and you can look up and you can see the straw thatch where the smoke is exiting out has turned the thatching black, from the cooking smoke, and grease and so on.
Oh yeah,
old traditional style.
Wow, yeah. That's
And,
ancient, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to live in that particular. I mean, especially as I get older. When I was younger, I liked Japanese houses. The idea of in the summertime you open up all the sliding doors and you get that nice breeze through there and so on. Of course, at that time I was living outside of the main part of the city. I was living in a smaller town, and even that small town I lived kind of on the edge, so didn't have houses right next to us, right? We had a garden in the front and a garden in the back and so on. So the traditional ability to open up the doors and the soji screens, the doors, and just let the air flow through. It's about as cool as you can get, but then if you wanted to you wanted the added
but
comfort,
still that's not cool, is it? It's not really cool.
So if you want the added comfort of an air conditioner, then that's totally ineffective, because those thin Japanese traditional paper doors and sliding screens and so on are just not going to keep the heat out, or not going to keep the cool in when you got that air conditioner on. So you're really throwing your money out the window almost, so if you want an air conditioner, I don't recommend a traditional Japanese home at all. Absolutely not.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Right. And if you look at this picture here, I've got, what is the number 11? That's kind of the central fire pit.
Right.
I forget what that's called. Right. To sit around and cook, and you can eat on the ledge or around the fire pit. I forget what that's called.
Right, that's what I was talking about. And then the center of the traditional homes, and it goes up. Right, there's no chimney. The smoke just naturally rises up through to the center.
This one, Again, it's maintenance heavy, isn't it? Wouldn't want to really have it nowadays. So this is a pretty cool diagram of the names. Whoops, sorry, what happened? The parts of a Japanese house. So if anyone's interested, here's the exterior, right? And what we were just talking about is the roofing kawara, the tiles here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the furin are like wind chimes. Yes.
Oh,
those are kind of cool.
Irori.
Right. Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. And here are some other traditional features of a Japanese house: the shoji, which is thin paper, which Dan was just talking about.
Right.
Very difficult to keep cool air in and hot air out.
Right.
The butsudan, yes, that's
like living with nature. It's like living with nature. If it's hot outside, well, I mean, you let in as much breeze as you can to try and cool things off, but you're living in nature, right? Yeah, so it's good in that way.
Right. It is. Yeah.
Hey, Peter. Oh, I didn't even.
Right. And here's the zabuton.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Yeah. There you go. And tokonoma is another feature.
Right.
Which are interesting in traditional Japanese homes. And again, in modern Japanese homes, they very rarely have these things.
Right.
In my home, nothing like this in my home now. My wife's Japanese, so right. Yeah. Even in her parents do have a traditional tatami mat room. Just one room with the tatami mats. I think it's 8 tatami mats in a tokonoma. the shoji and whatnot, just for show, actually.
Mhm.
So when a guest comes, maybe they'll use it. But these days they don't even use it at all. It's storage now. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's just storage, right?
Mm.
So it's interesting. Yeah. Let's look at your picture here, Dan. What might that be?
Oh, I mean, it's again, a more traditional Japanese home there. You can see the tatami, the zabuton, the kotatsu, and so on there. You know, so, you know, here in the background, you can see the traditional, the ikebana and the traditional Japanese calligraphy written scroll there in the background. Every Japanese home, you know, the older home that I've been in, you know, somewhat traditional Japanese home that I've been in has, you know, this type of a setup. You know, you're going to find at least one of these traditional calligraphic calligraphy scrolls there. You know, somebody in the home probably does ikebana or something like that. You know, this is just so typical of so many of the homes that
Ikebana is, yeah, flower arranging.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And you're right. This is a very traditional Japanese home.
Yep.
Indeed. Here's a kind of, I guess, a common exterior of a traditional Japanese house. Yes, and you can see the air conditioner up there. Yeah, the air conditioner machinery. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how cool the place gets.
Right.
But yeah, I think I like the exterior of these Kawada, kind of looks rather majestic. Yeah, and you can see big homes like this, right?
Uh-huh.
In more rural areas in Japan. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. There you go, Dan. What's that now?
What this? Living in Japan, things to know about life in Japan.
To know about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you don't really realize those things until you do move.
Finding the flesh.
But a lot of people are like us, I think, Dan. We came here to teach, and then actually after teaching, there's a good one, right? A modern Japanese toilet. Yeah.
More buttons on there than there are in a, you know, I mean, it's, yeah, you don't know what to push when you're done there, you know?
No, exactly. Right. No, it's true. That's right. And compared to the traditional toilet here, the benjo, right? The floor squatter type.
Right.
Yeah. Very much different, isn't it?
Those I have, to this day, I am not comfortable in those. I mean, I just am not, I just am not a squatter, you know?
It's hard. It really is.
Mostly an American problem. When I was in Spain, you know, I mean, you know, the nice place, you know, the more urban, restaurants and hotels and so on had Western or, you know, American style toilets and so on. But when you went to more rural places or you know, places like, you know, if you went into a restroom, for example, near the beach, I went to the beach, and the restroom that was in that area, you know, for people to use was basically a cement slab with a hole in the middle, you know, not even as nice as the Japanese, you know.
Reminds me of Cambodia or places in Indochina.
Right. That's my point.
Similar thing.
I think that we're spoiled as being Americans. I mean, that's what I grew up with, and still to this day, I'm not really comfortable squatting like that to do my business. It's just that's, you know, I never had to do that. So
it's hard to squat. Like when I first came to Japan, I couldn't figure out which end was which. Right.
Right.
Which end do you?
Yep. Same here.
Do you face when you're?
That's right.
When you're doing your business, yeah.
That's right.
Because if you're not careful, things could go on the outside of the right.
That's right. It can happen.
Totally unclean, right? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You got to be careful with these kinds of things. Yeah, right. Indeed, yeah. Well, here's a thatched roof house for you, Dan.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yep, I've seen some like
That's
that. Yeah, there are some even in
yeah,
Kumamoto Prefecture, some of the areas. Yeah, you can still see houses like this. Yep.
yeah,
Niigata,
you
I saw
certainly
even
can.
more. They were even a little more common up in Niigata
Mm,
when I was up there. So these rural areas, you're not going to find them in Tokyo, but yeah,
no,
rural areas. Yep.
there is for sure. Yeah, it's unique to look at. Again, like you said, wouldn't want to live in one.
No, no, that would be a
Look how
challenge.
thick that is, too,
Yeah,
right? Look
yeah,
how thick
quite
that
the.
is.
What are Japanese college
Yeah,
dorms
here's
like compared to U.S. dorms? Um, This
good
university where I
question.
teach, we don't have a dormitory. There is no real school dormitory. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah.
there are a couple that do have dormitories. Gakuen Daigaku has an international dormitory.
Mhm.
The rooms there are very small and usually single rooms, so that's one difference.
Yeah, which is
Usually
something.
dormitory rooms, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
are
follow up on
single
that,
rooms.
my personal experience as a university student in America, I always had
Hmm.
a roommate, whether it was in the dormitory or whether I rented an apartment or a house off campus. I always had roommates. This was like, I mean, for just for the expense, it made sense to share the expense with somebody else.
Right,
In
sharing
Japan,
the expense. That's it.
in
And same
Japan,
with me. Same with me. Mhm.
everybody lives alone. Everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody lives
I
alone. I
know
know.
of a couple of students that are in a house where they're sharing, but those are just the rare exception. Everybody lives in their own apartment or they're living at home, right? If they're not living at home, they're
Yeah,
living in their
they're
own apartment.
right. Even like apartments that are near universities, basically they're geared towards students, and they offer small, one room studio apartments, so students can
One
live
room
there.
or maybe one
One
room with a
room,
kitchen.
one room,
Yeah,
or
that's about
one
it.
room with a kitchen. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Across from my university, just straight across the street, there's a big apartment building there. Yeah, and mostly filled with students, and
Yep.
it's just like that, right?
Yep.
A large studio or one room plus a little bit of an LDK, living dining kitchen,
Yep.
and a sleeping area. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one difference totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but
Uh,
the size of the dorm room, I would say, yeah, Japan, it's going to be smaller because it's built for one person rather than most American college dorms that I'm aware of are built for basically for two people. Um,
mhm,
so they're
mhm.
definitely going to be smaller. The amenities, I mean, it's what I've seen. It's similar in that there's like a shared restaurant, bathroom and shower area and so on, things like that. And the cafeteria again is separate and so on. So those kind of things are
Mhm.
similar, but the actual space that the individual has is probably well, actually probably about the same. There, the room itself is about half the size, but then there's only one person
Right.
living in there.
There's
So
only one person. Exactly. So maybe the space is about the same. Yes. And then as far as I'm familiar with Japanese dorms, I think you alluded to that, Dan, or said it that yeah, there's never really a cafeteria inside the dorm. It's always separate, right?
mhm.
And although most Japanese dorms have rooms around a common area, right? So it's almost like a suite. Yes. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Indeed. Yeah.
actually,
So
though,
there's not.
at my daughter's university, the cafe or the dining area was in the same building as the dorm rooms.
Was it okay?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
They're not often like that, but I
Yeah,
guess
they're
they
not
do have
often
them.
like that, but yeah, so it's not an absolute. It's more common, to find them, in a separate building, but you can find it the other way.
Right. And sometimes, like you said earlier, Japanese don't always have dorms attached to universities. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Here, here they do not. There's not any real dorm. There it seems that there's almost an agreement between the community and the university that the university is not going to step on the toes of the people that want to rent out apartments to the students. Right. It's like they allow that to go to the private sector or to the
That's
people
right.
there, which it's
That's
kind of
right. And I think it's what it is. Actually, I think you're absolutely right.
I mean, I think that in a way that's good because it helps build community between the university and the community around it. So the community actually looks forward to the new students coming in because okay, we've got some new renters coming in
Sure.
and so on. So yeah, it builds that kind of community. It's good.
Builds a community. Also, space wise, right? For just space wise, it's more able to do it that way as opposed to having a large campus, right? Whereas too, campuses in Japan are very much smaller than the West.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, generally student
much
populations are much smaller than, I mean, I don't know about Todai or schools like that, but I don't think any Japanese universities have, like 40, 50, 60,000 students at a single campus where that is not at all
I don't think
uncommon, I mean, University of Iowa, where I went to school, was one of the smaller schools in the Big Ten conference, and we had 33,000 undergraduates, I think. So, and that would put it
right
in Japan, if not at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, my university was City University of New York, which was comprised of a lot of different campuses. So, yeah, over 100,000 students. Yeah.
Right.
My daughter went to University of North Carolina, right? Just the Charlotte campus was like 25,000 students. It's hard to believe because the campus, in itself is not that big. I mean, you can drive around it. It's quite large compared to Japanese universities. But yeah, it wasn't endless. I mean, it had finite borders and whatnot. But yeah, 25,000 students. And yours too, 33,000 students. Yeah.
Right. So
my university right now is 1,500 students.
Right.
Maybe 1,600
so
totally.
UCLA has 31,000 undergraduates for a total of 46,000 students, undergraduates and graduates added together. So 46,000 at UCLA. Like I said, I mean, again, so that's on the larger side, but I mean, it's just not unheard of at all. Whereas Japan, that would be, off the charts, really.
It would be off the charts. Again, we don't know Todai or what have you, but basically, right? It's unheard of in Japan. Yeah. Yeah. This is on my picture here in the bottom right is kind of a very nice. It looks almost new tatami room, right, with shoji and fusuma.
Right.
And I do like the light wood emphasis in that. I really do like that. Yeah. And this again, the smell of brand new tatami like this is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
It has a nuance all its own, right? So I could probably spend some time in this room, sure. Do you like this room, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Very nice,
isn't it? Right.
Very nice. Yeah.
Very, very nice.
I feel.
And here are the closets, right? You would feel comfortable for sure, right? In these kind of closets, they would keep the futon, right, and things to put on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. The Japanese word for the closet is oshiire, right? Oshiire, so push it in, right? You push stuff into the closet, kind of thing.
Yeah, pushing in space, right? Exactly. Yeah. So Eleanor said her brother graduated from University of Iowa, Dan.
Yay! Go Hawkeye! There we go.
Go Hawks! Yes.
Yeah, go Hawks. Yeah. So I just looked it up. Tokyo University, 27,000. That's the 27,000 regular students.
That's big. That's comparable. That's comparable to University of North Carolina. It's comparable size.
But this is everybody, undergraduate, graduate together, everybody, right? Not just undergraduate, not just the undergraduate college. This is the entire university. Todai. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Right. Yeah. I'm looking up CUNY where I went. Okay. CUNY, right, which is City University of New York, comprised of Hunter College, Fordham University, City College, and Brooklyn College. I thought it was bigger, but it's only 18,000 students.
Mm, mm. Yeah. Yeah, if you check on the Big Ten, I think those are, I mean, those are some bigger schools, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're pretty typically in the 30s, 40,000 students.
Dan, this picture on the right is in Gokanosho. Are you familiar with Gokanosho in central Kyushu?
No, I don't know that.
Yeah, beautiful area. It's really rural and it's really beautiful in the fall with the changing leaves and whatnot. This is a traditional house we went to down there. This is a Heike. The Heike tribe escaped from Tokyo, and they were kind of rebels in Kumamoto, and kind of secretly lived in this house. This is a very interesting traditional house. And if you look up, these are the underside of the thatched roofs.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought that was interesting. It's
Yeah.
kind of my first time to see something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious. I looked up the Big Ten, right? 51,000
Yeah.
at the University of Illinois. Northwestern, one of the small ones, right? 22,000. Indiana, 43. Iowa, 31. Only 31.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Maryland,
31.
40.
Okay.
So see, most of them 40, 50,000. But Pennsylvania State. Hey, I thought you were
Pennsylvania State. Penn State, baby.
91,000.
How many?
91.
91,000. Wow.
That's at the
That's
main
amazing.
campus, the university main campus. 91,000.
In State College, right?
Yep.
Not far from my hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Boy,
I've
they
been there
let
a couple
90,
times.
they had 91,000 students and they still wouldn't let you in. Well, that shows where you
No, I only went there to see a friend. That's all. Didn't want to go there. It was too close to home. I had to get away from home.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't want to go to Penn State.
Too many warrants.
Oh.
Too many warrants right there. You had to get away from home. Okay.
I had to escape my warrants. Right. Should have come to Iowa to see you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Iowa. Yeah, I didn't graduate from.
But I wanted a little more than corn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, university. I got my undergraduate degree from Northern Iowa, and and I got my master's from the University of Iowa. Yeah. So, and both of them, very, very different schools, very, very different communities, and so on. I mean, they're both in Iowa, but quite a different feeling. The University of Northern Iowa used to be the state normal school, so a lot of people there for education, and it felt more like a local school. There were some international students and so on, but it really felt more like you were in Iowa. Whereas University of Iowa had a pretty significant foreign student population, well known internationally, and with its science and writing and programs, as well as the law school and the medical school and so on. So it felt so much. I mean, population wise, it was nearly double, but it felt it just felt like 10 times bigger. I mean, it really no comparison. Yeah.
That's interesting. There you go. Yeah. Interesting. What are the towns like around it?
Well, I mean,
small towns or?
So University of Northern Iowa is on the edge of Cedar Falls. Cedar Falls and Waterloo are kind of a twin cities in the middle of near the middle of Iowa. And yeah, they're, I don't know what the population is, probably Waterloo, maybe 80, 90,000, not very big, and Cedar Falls is probably about a third that. So maybe about 35,000, something like that.
Would you say they're traditional college towns? I mean, do they cater to the college crowd? The university?
Not so much. I mean, Waterloo was pretty much oblivious to the university. Cedar Falls, the university was on the at the time I went there anyway. I don't know how it's changed, but at the time I went there, it was basically on the edge of town. There were cornfields and so on past the university, or more almost the more residential areas on anything past, it's either agriculture or residential past the university. The part of the town that bordered the university did very much cater to the university. The bars, on the hill, they called it. There was a slight sloping street right on the edge of the university, and that was just lined with bars and shops that catered to the university and so on. Yeah.
Okay.
But
there you go.
University of Iowa is basically mixed in with Iowa City. In fact,
is it really? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, for example, the university had its own newspaper, but you found it distributed all throughout town as a free newspaper. So that's what everybody read. Everybody, there was the city newspaper, and a few people read that, because it did cover, more really local things. The University of Iowa newspaper was more international. It covered the university topics as well as international topics to a greater extent than the local newspaper. The campus bus, we call it the CAM bus, went throughout the entire town, and anybody could ride the campus for free, the CAM bus for free.
Wow.
They had city buses.
Okay.
They had city buses that did go out to some of the areas that weren't covered by the CAM bus, but basically the CAM bus covered most of the city, and so everybody rode together. So I mean, it was really integrated. The town was integrated, or the university was integrated into the town. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, cool. So it's kind of it's almost catering to the student population, which is good, right? These kinds of things, big universities like that, they bring in a lot of change and a lot of.
Well, like I said, so over 30,000 university students at the University of Iowa, only 35,000 residents in Iowa City, Iowa. So I mean, yeah,
that's a huge influx of students. Yeah, right.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Huge influx of students. So every fall, right?
That kind of a population,
No,
when basically
right.
one in two people there are university students. I mean, and those are students. So 31,000 students, right? 32,000 students. So then you've got the faculty and staff, and so on, right? So actually, probably closer to 2/3 of the people were either directly or indirectly involved with the university.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess in vacation time, it really, really gets quiet there, huh? When the students leave. I mean, if they leave, right? During vacation.
There was a noticeable difference. Yeah, there was definitely a noticeable difference. Yeah. But there's so much going on there. Like I said, especially graduate schools, there's a lot of research that's going on year round and so on. So, and the graduate schools are pretty significant.
And 33,000 population, I mean, non-college population, still that's big, right? So there's probably still enough going on, so you didn't feel it. But some towns, though, they're basically college towns, right?
Right.
They have a tremendous influx of students during the school year, and then during vacations, the students move out and it gets really quiet, I've heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In my town, Greensburg, Pennsylvania, there's a small university called Seton Hill University. It too's got quite a large population of students, and my town's 25,000 people. So it's noticeable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's noticeable when students come and go. Interestingly. Yeah. Here's one last picture I want to just show here. This is this traditional, and this is in the Heike house in Gokonosho, right? Very traditional, old house. Yeah, it's really quite cool. Yeah,
it's got the what
is it called again? Idiose.
Idioti.
Idioti. Yes. Yeah. really good. Very nice.
Live in Japan for 30
Great.
years, still can't remember some Japanese words because you never see these.
That's
really.
right.
Really
Well,
never.
we never use it. We never see it. We don't have them when we don't use the word exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why I forget Japanese, not
Yeah.
using the word,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
needing the vocabulary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some students coming here, Dan, in a couple minutes, so
Okay.
let's call it a day, shall we?
All right. It's a day.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a day. When's your next shot, Dan?
I don't know.
When's your next-
I'll probably be online this weekend a little bit. You know, I'll probably do a broadcast or so sometime during the weekend. So U.S. time,
Yeah,
Friday
I'm
night,
gonna try to.
Friday night, Saturday night. I'll probably be doing some broadcasting. Not
I'd
sure.
like to do that too.
Yeah.
I'd like to do some horror story reading.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Maybe I'll do that
Just a close
over
up
the weekend.
while you're reading will scare anybody, you know. So. Ah, oh my God.
See, Daniel.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much,
Yep.
Eleanor. It's a day. I hope it's a good day for you too.
Absolutely.
Good night for you, actually. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Thanks, Eleanor. Yeah. And when's your next vaccine, Dan? Vaccination shot?
Yeah, it's 4 weeks after
what I
the
meant.
first shot. 4 weeks, you know. So
Mine's the 30th
the 30th of July.
of July. Yeah.
Wow, nice. You got yours
Yeah.
on what, the 9th?
It was the 8th.
The 8th? Okay, the 8th. So 3 weeks and a
8th,
day. Okay, yeah. I
3 weeks and a day,
I
yeah.
have to wait 4 weeks and a day to get my second one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I found out. So
Maybe
I asked him about that. I said, hey, you know, wait, are you sure this is right? You know, you schedule it because they automatically schedule your second one, right? And I said, wait a minute, you know,
Right.
are you sure you're not scheduling me a week late? And they said, yeah, you know, it has to be at least 3 weeks. But we've had a lot of people who got their first shot at the city, you know, the Kumamoto-jo Hall, and
yeah.
they chose to get their second shot at the hospital. They thought it would be, you know, more comfortable to get the shot at the hospital, right? So there's been an influx of people that got their first shot one place and got their second shot at the hospital. So
I see. Okay, that's why.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be okay. You'll live. Don't worry.
I probably could, you know, go to the Kumamoto-jo Hall and get my second shot there if I wanted to, but
well, you got to make sure because you know mine. Because they make it so that you have your date, and to change is rather hard. I found out.
Oh, really?
The reason I know that is because I have my 30th. I have classes. The last day of classes, I have to miss them because my shot's there, and I was trying to change it, and it's really hard to change.
Huh? Because
yeah.
The woman I know, she's 65, so she was in one of the earlier groups, and she, you know, she changed hers to a week later, and she didn't indicate that it was any kind of a hassle. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she had connections at the hospital or what. Not that I know of, but you know, she was talking to me, and she said, "Well, do you think I should change?" I said, "Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it doesn't hurt, you know, and you know, to change it because
I'm gonna try. I mean."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's I don't have any evidence other than that one anecdotal bit, you know, that she was able to change, and it seemed like pretty easily. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a website you can go to, and you know they have open dates, right? And it looks like all the ones I wanted are closed. But of course, people do cancel. Right. So maybe she was lucky in that respect. People cancel or you know. Don't go or what have you. So
and like I said, that was during the 65 and over segment, right? So
right.
That might have been, you know, the logistics might have been different. I don't know. But yeah. All right. I guess you got students.
Well, cool.
I'll let you go.
I'll let you. Yeah, I'll look for you over the weekend for the next one.
Right on. Yeah, let's get together virtually again here.
Let's do that.
Yep.
Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Hey, what are you doing Friday morning?
Friday morning, tomorrow morning, nothing much. I have classes tomorrow afternoon, but in the morning I'm pretty open.
Same here. So I may broadcast tomorrow morning, or yeah.
I was thinking I might broadcast too.
Okay.
Actually.
All right. Good. Let's coordinate something. We'll see what we can do.
Let's coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. 10-ish,
Right on.
11-ish, 12-ish.
Yeah, probably earlier more than later, because I do have the 1 o'clock class, and I just as soon have have a little breathing room before before the class starts. So yeah, earlier 10 or 11, either one would be fine. So yeah.
Let's coordinate.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.